Hi, and welcome to Creating a Life You Love with Adriana, where we talk about how to create a healthy lifestyle centered on the Lord and all things to do with relationships, mental, emotional, spiritual health. And I've actually been off social media for the past month and a half. And during that time, I have actually got engaged. And so I wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit, but also talk about the different seasons in life that we go through and how to just embrace that. I feel like I never want to just come on here and talk all about my life without actually providing something beneficial or something that can actually help you or you can apply to your life. So anyway, that's why I kind of wanted to talk about, yes, I'm engaged, great news, but also what are we going to do with that and how can I actually share with you guys something that I've been thinking about lately, which is different seasons of life. So this morning I was reading my journal from a year ago, and I noticed that I had wrote a common theme of, I need to let go of this breakup. I need to just let go in order for myself to heal. And so if you don't know my whole story, I dated my fiance for a few months. And then this was last year. We dated for a few months. We were friends before that. Then we broke up. Then we went through that breakup. And then we randomly met at a Christmas party again in December. And the Lord brought us back together. We dated and now we are engaged. But like I was saying, when I was reading my journal from a year ago, I was writing a lot about how I know I needed to let go. I needed to embrace this season and I needed to enjoy it because I knew if I didn't enjoy the singleness I was in then, I was going to deeply regret it later. And I feel like that's very common. Obviously, there's that cliche term of I'm in my season of singleness, But anyway, I guess it's a good phrase to describe it. But I wanted to talk about Ecclesiastes 3, where it talks about there is a season for everything under heaven. There's a season, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to kill and a time to heal. And a verse that I really resonated with during this breakup a year ago was a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away. Because during that time, like I said, I knew I had to let go or else I would not heal. And maybe you're going through a breakup now. Maybe you are not in a relationship, but you want to be in one. And you're really just holding on to this idea in your head. You're fantasizing about it when you go to sleep. Just, being married, being with your spouse, getting excited to wake up every day. You think that that will fix everything in your life. And I'm definitely guilty of that. And during the breakup, I realized that was an idol in my life. Like a relationship was kind of an idol. And by that, I mean, I was just making it so much of a priority that it was kind of above my relationship with God. That's what I mean by an idol. And so when I was in the breakup, I was like, okay, I need to embrace this season. I need to actually find joy in it. And so what that looked like for me was really leaning on God, waking up in the morning, spending time reading my Bible. And then throughout the day, obviously I had work, I had other things I was doing, but I could still call out to God, something that, when you're going through a breakup or you're single and you're wishing that you could text someone, about your day or about your struggles or your worries or your something that's going on in your day. And you don't have that, it can be kind of depressing, especially just going through a breakup and realize that you're never going to talk to that person again. Very hard. But during that time, what I would do is call out to God. So I'd be working at my desk and I'd be very worried all of a sudden. And I would just say God, I need your help. I'm feeling very worried about so and so and this. I need your help. Please give me peace or tell me what to do. Give me some insight and wisdom to this situation. And that was such a sweet time. Looking back, of course, I'm yes, that breakup was so great. I learned so much. But in the actual breakup, I was so depressed. I was joyful, but depressed because I was grateful for the Lord. But everything else in my life, nothing would make me happy except spending time with God. But anyway, looking back, it was a very beautiful time. And so in this season, once it started coming to an end in that my now fiance. We reconnected at this Christmas party, and then we realized that, okay, I think we can now move forward and get back together. And so once we realized that, I all of a sudden started having like this fear of going into this new season. If you're like me, you may not like change very much. Some people love it, but I don't. And so this was really hard because all of a sudden I had gotten used to being comfortable in my singleness. Like now I'm a little bit scared because I'm used to being on my own and everything has been good on my own. But now we're going to probably have conflict, and I want to run from conflict because anytime my friends and I argue, I'm like, nope, I'm out. Anyway, so I was going to this new season this was January, and we were like, okay, it's time to start this relationship. And I felt deep down that, the Lord was showing me, yes, get back together with Christopher. But at the same time, it was scary because I was scared, what if this doesn't work out? I was having all of these just fears. But the Lord kept revealing time after time through whether it was different people telling me, whether it was scripture I was reading, whether it was just this deep sense of peace that, yes, I'm supposed to be in this relationship. And so even though it was scary, even though it was such a change, we got together. And the struggles of this season didn't stop there because, like I mentioned earlier, conflict is something that I like to run from. And I wasn't a fan of having disagreements, of having miscommunication. But in a relationship, the whole idea of like marriage is meant to make you happy is kind of false. Like, yes, you should have fun with your partner. You should be joyful in that relationship. But marriage is actually meant to make you holy, to make you more like Christ, to make you more patient and kind and loving and self-controlled, and all of these good things that we read about in the Bible. That is what marriage is supposed to make us like. It's not supposed to make us just, these people who can do whatever they want and can just have their spouse do whatever they want to do for them. Like, no, it's meant for us to serve the other person. And of course, I'm saying this with like no experience right now. I'm simply just repeating what I've read in marriage books, specifically Sacred Marriage, and what I have read in the Bible and what I felt the Lord revealed to me. So clearly I'm not married yet, so I cannot speak on that fully. But what was I saying? Oh, yes. So the past, 11 months with my now fiance, we have had conflict, and I've had to understand that just because we're having conflict doesn't mean that things are terrible and horrible and we can't recover from this. It's how you deal with the conflict, not, oh, I'm having conflict again. It's like, how are you dealing with it? And why is it happening? Is it happening because you guys are just learning more about each other? Or is it happening because there's some serious red flags? So anyway, something that I feel like is really important when you are in a season of life that you are kind of not really wanting to be in, I think something that we have to do is ask ourselves and really ask the Lord, what is God teaching us in this season? And so looking back at my breakup, I'm so happy that I was able to stay in that moment and like be in the present of that breakup instead of just hoping and wishing for the future. And that is why it was so important for me to follow Ecclesiastes 3:6, a time to seek and a time to quit seeking. I knew that I had to stop seeking for a relationship, that I had to stop seeking for the person that I really wanted to be with, but I had to let him go at that time. So something to ask when you're going through a season you don't want to be in, God, what are you trying to teach me in this? And maybe you're still in this season because you haven't learned what God is wanting to teach you. Maybe you are still in a season of being single because you have not learned to place God first in your life. And not to say that you have to be perfect to get in a relationship, because I've learned that you grow and learn so much in a relationship. When I look back to my time going through the breakup last year, I honestly, towards the end of the breakup, I was like, wow, I'm really doing well. Like, I don't have really many places that I need to work on in my life. Like, I feel like I am am a good, whole and healthy person, right? Then I get in my relationship and all of a sudden I'm like, wow, I have character flaws. I get defensive. I don't like when things don't go my way. I am selfish. Like all of these things were coming out, and it's because you have someone that you're being vulnerable with and that sees a lot of your life. So anyway, going back to the whole thing, maybe God wants you to learn something in this season, and that's why your time has not come yet to get out of this season. Now, it may not be that, but that's just a suggestion, and seeing in my life, that is certainly something that I can say has happened to me. And so now we came to the point where in the past month, we got engaged, and now we're going through this new season that has its own difficulties because we're not yet married, but we're not still like dating. So we're in this in-between stage where we're gonna get married, but there's so many hard decisions to like make before you're actually before you're married, but something that, is very interesting now that I look back on it. This theme in my life of like being scared of change also happened when we got engaged. So when we got engaged, to start with, I guess I'll tell the story, but okay, I'll tell the story. So we were in Colorado on vacation, and Christopher wanted to go get breakfast with his friends, and they texted us. They were like, okay, we're gonna get breakfast at this time. The next day comes around and they decided that they were going to be running late. So they texted us and they were like, oh, we're going to run late. We're sorry, guys. Maybe you could go on a hike or go grab coffee while you're waiting for us since you're already out. So anyway, we decide, Christopher and I, to go on this little walk. Of course, I'm thinking that like I'm deciding this, but actually it was all a part of his plan. And so we're going on this walk, and it's like by this little stream, and all of a sudden I walk, and we're walking for about 10 minutes, and he takes me down to like the stream area, and I see some candles, and I'm like, wait, I think there's someone down there. I don't think we should bother them. I see candles, and he looks at me and he's like, and I'm like, oh, are those for me? Immediately I was like just completely shocked, completely surprised. And this was another season that like I had prepared for. We had done the like premarital counseling. We had read marriage books. We had done all these things, but then the moment had actually arrived, and I was like, oh my gosh, oh my goodness, like this is a new season. Change is about to happen. And so that week, obviously I was excited, but I was also nervous for all the changes that were about to like come in my life. And so that's something that I had to bring to the Lord. And I'm like, okay, Lord, like I know you showed me that I'm ready for this, and you've confirmed in many different ways, but now I'm worrying. Like now I'm worrying for this new season. And so I was kind of looking back at my life to see other times that I worried about seasons I was in. And I can see, taking a step by starting this podcast, that was something really scary. I didn't really want to do that at first. I was very scared, but I also knew deep down I wanted to do it, and the Lord wanted me to do it, so I decided to do it. But if I look at my breakup, that was a season I did not want to go in. I did not want to go through that breakup, but so much good came out of that. And then this relationship, I was still a little bit scared to get back into a relationship with the person that, broke my heart. Well, he didn't break my heart, but we mutually agreed to break up, but still had a broken heart. And so I was a little bit scared to do that too. And so this was something that I just had to remind myself, like, you are never fully going to feel fully prepared for something. The Lord just kind of nudges you into it and then makes you prepared in that season. I kind of think about Moses in the Bible in Exodus 4:10. The Lord said that Moses is going to lead the Israelites. And Moses was like, I can't do this. Like, no, like, don't send me, send someone else. Like, I can't speak well. What are you talking about? Moses ended up leading the Israelites, and that was literally be like a whole change in the directory of time and the Bible and all the things. So anyway, if we just look back and see how God has used people that didn't feel that they were ready to go in a season of life that they didn't know they would be prepared for, we can see the good that has come out of that and how he has actually equipped people for that. And so there's a phrase that says, I think it's, God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. And so if you're in this season now, maybe you're going through a breakup, you're going through a loss in your life, whatever it is, and you're just not feeling ready for it, you're like, okay, but I'm just going to trust that the Lord will lead me in this. And obviously that's a lot easier said than done. I can't just tell you, yeah, trust the Lord, it'll be fine. Like, you will get through this season, you'll be fine. You have to actually seek the Lord and have him reveal that to you yourself. Because I can tell you all day long, like, yeah, the Lord helped me with the seasons that I've been in, and he's shown me that, like, it doesn't matter if I don't feel prepared, he's going to reveal to me that he is going to prepare me and, qualify what he has called me to, qualify me and what he's called me to do. I can tell that to you over and over again, but until you actually feel that from the Lord, you may not believe it. But just keep that in the back of your mind, like that if you keep seeking him and you keep asking him, like, hey, Lord, I really just want to know what it is I need to learn in this season. And of course, there's things in life that are very hard to see good in. I think later on, God can use what was meant for evil in this fallen world, and he can turn it around, and he can actually help you, in that time. But I don't want to dismiss the fact that there's some things that are going to be harder. Something like losing a family member is very hard to see the good in, as opposed to losing a relationship when the guy was actually very toxic. So I understand that, but at the same time, the Lord can work all things together for good. I believe it says that in Romans 8:28, the Lord will work all things together for good for those who love him. And so where I am now is just kind of balancing my, on the one hand, excitement for the future, and then getting too ahead of myself, and then the Lord bringing me back and saying, nope, you need to focus on what I've called you to do in this season. Don't leap into the season of marriage yet. You're not there. And on the other hand, I also don't want to let the anxieties of, oh, I'm not ready for this next season to take over, because the Lord comforts me in that and is like, no, like, I'm going to prepare you. Just keep walking, just keep going, stay in the present. When I go into the future, it will just either be too much excitement that I can't even focus on where I'm at, or it'll be too much worry that I can't even focus on where I'm at. And both extremes are not good. We want to have this contentment with where we're at. Yes, we can hope for, this to happen, or if we know our wedding is going to happen in a certain amount of time, we can look forward to that. But we can also say, you know what, I'm going to enjoy where I'm at right now, because I will never get this back. And that's something that I'm just keeping reminding myself of. I'm never going to have this exact moment back. So I'm going to enjoy and savor every moment of it, even if I'm looking forward to the future. You know what I mean? So with that being said, I really just hope that you can take that into whatever time you're going through right now, and just think about how you can find contentment in this season. Does that mean you need to stop going ahead of yourself in the future and making all these plans before consulting the Lord? Does that mean you need to bring your worries and anxieties to him about the season you're in and not feeling prepared for it? Like, whatever side that you're on, just bring that to him. Spend some time with him. I'd say, either in the morning or at night, or really whenever you can throughout the day. But sometimes it's easier, either in the morning, at night, to set aside that time so you don't have the busy day and people texting you and all the things going on. Set aside some time, journal about the season of life that you're in. Is it a season of life where you're having anxiety, where you're excited, or are you getting too ahead of yourself? Just bring that to the Lord and see where you need to reposition yourself. Because if we keep living there's this quote that says, it's called the present because it is a gift. So living in the present is a gift. If we jump to the future, if we go to the past, then we're not living in this gift that God has given us. We can be grateful for what has happened and then look forward to what will happen. But at the same time, we need to like be content with where we're at, or we're just going to be all over the place. So I could ramble on and on about that, but I'm not going to. But I'll keep you guys updated on, all things wedding season and marriage. And there might be some changes that will be coming here, so stay tuned for that. But besides that, I hope you have a wonderful weekend, a wonderful week. If you did like this podcast episode, make sure to like it, follow the podcast for more. I love being on this journey with you guys, and I'm just grateful that the Lord has given me this opportunity to speak about this and this opportunity to come full circle and talk about this story of me and my fiance and how the Lord really can use everything for good. The breakups, the challenges, the conflicts, he can use it all to grow you towards him, to grow both of us. Anyway, it's just been all very cool, and I'm excited to share this journey with you. But I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.